Hi, friends. Welcome to the Day Like the Movies podcast with your host, Brent Jensen, where on this episode, we are talking ogres, princesses, dragons, and donkeys. But first, an introduction because I am joined by my fabulous cousin, Maddie Johnson. Maddie, welcome to Day Like the
Hello.
Movies.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
yeah, definitely. Awesome to have you here. Appreciate you taking the time. Maddie also is living in Utah, going to nursing school, and is at the 5 month mark with a current relationship as well. So, Maddie, again, happy to have you here. We are talking about one of the best animated movies, in my opinion, of all time.
So good.
So good. I watched it a few weeks ago to fresh up on Shrek because that is the movie. I actually have a copy here because I am
Oh,
still old
wow.
school, and I I still use DVDs. So, but that is the movie Matt and I will be talking about. Now, for those of you that either haven't seen it, which I'm sorry for you, if you haven't seen it, you have to go watch this movie, or if you just haven't seen it in a long time, here's a bit of the rundown of the movie Shrek, which is a 2001 animated fantasy comedy starring the voices of Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz. So that's a fantastic cast right there. Title character Shrek enjoys his peaceful and quiet life living in a swamp, or his swamp. That is, until he finds his home overrun by fairy tale creatures who've been banished by Lord Farquaad, the ruler of the land. Shrek makes a deal with Lord Farquaad to rescue Princess Fiona from a castle guarded by a fire-breathing dragon in exchange for getting back his swamp. Along the way, he bumps into or befriends a donkey who, against the initial wishes of Shrek, remains attached at his hip throughout the movie. Though initially Shrek and Fiona don't see eye to eye, they end up developing romantic feelings for each other, which makes it the perfect choice to be the first animated film featured on the Daily the Movies podcast. What we'll be doing today is going through some quotes throughout Shrek because it is a very quotable movie, and so that we'll use various quotes throughout the movie to guide our conversation about relationships, about dating, about ogres, and anything else we choose to talk about.
Sweet. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's do it. First quote is "Take a look at me. What am I?" And then later, "They judge me before they even know me." And this quote is actually Shrek sharing his frustrations to his, I guess, his reluctant friend now, Donkey, about how others perceive him or assume things about him simply because he's an ogre. But Donkey did not treat him that way in terms of the judging and right, judging him for kind of how he looks. Why not? Why didn't Donkey treat him that way?
Oh, this movie's just so good. There's another quote actually that I like from another show. The quote is be curious, not judgmental. And I think
Okay.
that's exactly what Donkey did. He wasn't necessarily focused on the appearance of him, like everyone was running away from Shrek, but he was super curious by him. He's like, wow, like he was able to scare everyone. That's cool. Like, I'm going to follow him. I'm going to hang out with him. And he just asked him tons and tons of questions to the point where Shrek was super annoyed with him. But he was just curious. He was like, I want to know more about you. And so I think that's important when meeting anyone, is just being curious about them and who they are and what makes them them.
I love that. Yeah, be curious, not judgmental. Do you remember the show that you heard that from?
It's called Ted Lasso. He becomes a soccer coach in England and has to get to know the team, and they really don't like him because he was a football coach before, different type of football. And yeah, he just has to learn how to kind of incorporate himself and his personality in trying to help the team. And so it's a fun show.
I love that. And you know, that be curious, not judgmental part reminds me of something that I heard recently just around the concept that you can learn
Hmm.
something from everybody, regardless of kind of how they look, who
Yes.
they are, what their background is. If you have that curious
Yeah.
mindset and you're open to learning,
Hmm.
everyone can teach you something.
Yeah. I agree.
Let me ask this question. Yeah, let me ask this question now on being vulnerable. Is that a
Hmm.
challenge for you to open up and be
Uh,
vulnerable in a relationship?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For me, it is. Yeah. I think it's just because you want Of course, you want everyone to see the best, like, sides of you and just you at your prime, but being vulnerable is allowing someone to see you at your worst and at your best, and
Mhm.
being okay that they're seeing that, and if you allow people to see that side of you, you're able to have a deeper connection with them, they're able to see deeper sides of you, and so, yeah, if you want any type of connection to go further, you have to let them see more of you and talk more about things like that. And so, initially, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard because anyone
Yeah.
putting your heart out on the line is gonna be hard, but, it's good. That's good.
Why do you think it makes it hard?
Well, you have to be okay with both sides of it. You have to be okay with, "Okay, this person knows a lot about me. I'm gonna let them into my life, and I'm gonna let them, learn more about me, but also, what if it doesn't work out? What if they learn all these things about me, but they don't decide to choose me?" And that's a thing that's, like, for everyone to decide for themselves, and they also can't necessarily pin that on themselves or, "Oh, they didn't like me because this." Like, it's very important to be yourself completely because then you will find someone who likes you just for you. So, yeah.
Yeah, so true. Shrek, he also shares, right, like you kind of alluded to earlier, how others perceive him, right? Whether it's he's scary, he's
Mhm.
ugly, he's green. It also seems too to me how Shrek is trying almost to fit into the box of how other people view him. Almost like if you think of him in the
Yeah, yeah.
swamp, and I won't say he prides
Mhm.
himself on being the scary, like scaring everybody else away. It's almost like he knows how they perceive him, and he's trying to fit that mold, whether he thinks he is or not. Do you see that come
Yeah.
through in this film at all?
Yeah, I think he just does it to, like, survive, I guess. Like, he puts himself away from people so that he
Hmm.
has his little own oasis, but then he goes along with what other people think about him, so it's not, like, anything new, he has his routine, but then Donkey comes into his life, and the swamp gets overrun, and then it kind of just jolts him to be like, "Oh, I have to do something different." So, yeah, I definitely see that.
This is a what if question for you, because Shrek is
Okay.
very focused on his physical appearance. Very focused. I even thought about, I did not
Yes.
do this, but I should have come to this podcast, like
Uh-huh.
painted my face green. I did not do that, but that would have fit the theme for this episode. But Shrek, right, he's very focused on his physical appearance. Okay. So my
Yeah.
question for you is, what if you saw a man and you didn't know very well, but you just thought
Mhm.
from a distance, right, he was physically attractive, but then
Mhm.
you saw him being like a jerk, or he was rude, or you saw like a different side of his personality, would that change your initial thoughts about finding him attractive?
110%. Yeah. Actions speak louder
Yeah.
than words as well as, like, words for someone's character, and so, yeah, it really like,
Yeah.
obviously, some
Totally
physical
agree.
qualities are important, but, yeah, character is a huge deal. If you see someone treating someone poorly or not being,
Yeah.
curious before being judgmental or vice versa. It kind of makes you feel a little bit like, I don't know about that. So makes you think about what they're truly like instead of what their surface level views them to be like. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a pretty
I
big
agree with
turnoff.
you. Yep. 110%, like you said. So,
Hmm.
oh, yeah, huge. Yeah. It's interesting how you think about attraction. There's so much that goes into that, right? Like what makes somebody attractive
Yeah.
to another person is
Hmm.
sure physical is a piece of that, but there was so much, in the personality and attributes. Let's move on to another quote. I think it's one of the more well-known quotes in Shrek because we're talking about onions. Okay. And so I think I know
Hmm.
where you're going with where I'm going with this one. Here's his quote.
Yeah, of course.
Uh, and this is a quote from Shrek. He says, "For your information, there's a lot more to ogres than people think. Ogres are like onions. They both have layers." Early on in their quest, Shrek continuing here, being vulnerable, sharing with Donkey how there's a lot more to ogres than people see with their eyes. But when you're trying to get to know somebody, or you could say, right,
Yeah.
peeling back a person's layers, we could, go with the onion analogy there too. But what do you do
Hmm.
when trying to get to know somebody?
I think. as far as communicating, asking open-ended questions, like really wanting to know them. What's your family like? Like, what do you like? Um, Things that help you to just understand their background a little bit better. I also like to see them in their element or do activities with them that maybe excite them or even activities that I like to do. It kind of just helps to understand what how they react, what they like. So, that's a couple of things I do.
I like open-ended questions too. The right just naturally elicits a discussion, a conversation. Um, I feel, right, how do you tell if
Mhm.
someone's genuinely trying to get to know you or just kind of like moving on, checking the box? I think it's a lot of the follow-up that happens
Yes,
after you,
follow-ups.
right, they're
Mhm.
asking you questions, you're giving your
Yeah.
answers, and then they ask more questions,
Mhm.
and you can kind of really tell that they're listening, um, right, when they're
Yes.
asking those good questions. They're really trying to get to know you. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like onions? Right, it's a totally random question, but do you like onions?
I actually do like onions. My, dad likes
Okay.
to cook them, with our hash browns, but he'll, like, fry them, and he calls them candy, and so, yeah, we like onions. They're good.
I haven't
Yeah.
heard that before.
He
The
does.
things I'm
He
learning
does like
about
them a
you,
lot.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another quote. This quote is not from Shrek, but this is from Princess Fiona, who says,
Okay.
quote, awaiting a knight so bold as to rescue me. But wait, Sir Knight, this be our first meeting. Should it not be a wonderful romantic moment? And then later she adds, but this isn't right. This is Princess Fiona being
Mhm.
rescued by Shrek, and she has this vision in her mind. She has like this picture in her mind of
Yeah.
how it should feel, what it should be like to be swept off her feet, right? Meeting her true love,
Mhm.
right, as the story goes. But there was none of that in this story. There was no sweeping you off her feet. I think there's even a scene where he's like holding her like over, like
Yeah, he,
upside
like,
down
whips
over
her over
his
his
shoulder
back
or
to, like, get
something.
her where he wants her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Not what you picture when you think of like being swept off your feet, which is what Princess
Yeah.
Fiona had in mind. When you were growing up, were
Uh-huh.
you a girl who often dreamed of your wedding, what things would look like? Were you kind of that way, or not so much?
Oh. Not completely. I mean, of course, you, like, talk about it with your friends. We play MASH and talk about dream weddings and other things, and, of course, they have, like, a Pinterest
Nice.
board and stuff, like, I think about it, but not all the time. I was too busy doing other activities and things.
So you wouldn't say you were obsessed with it, but it came up a few
No,
times.
no.
Now, right today, think about kind of your life now. How would you picture it in your mind? Quote, getting swept off your feet. Like, what would that look like for you?
For me, I'm pretty easy to please.
Okay, all right.
um, I think when it comes to being swept off my feet, it's just, like, small and simple things. Like, I like the cheesy romance things where you get someone flowers, you open their door. Well planned out dates are always fun, showing, like, prioritizing effort and, that you want to get to know someone. I'm also a foodie, so I like I like food. Trying new things there. I just like it when someone shows effort. And so even if that looks different in other people's cases of what they do or don't want, if I can see that they are trying to put forth effort, I think it's adorable. So,
Awesome. Yeah, it's all about the effort. And that came up on an earlier
yeah.
episode too. Effort was like the number one thing on
Yeah.
what makes somebody attractive is showing effort, showing that you care. And like you said earlier,
Mhm.
that comes through with actions a lot more than words.
Yeah.
I feel like, Princess Fiona has this idea in her mind of what love looks like for her.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, a lot of people can get stuck in that way too, where you have this very narrow-minded vision of what it looks like for you, and often we end up frustrated because things aren't working out. How can someone be open to
Mhm.
finding love in different ways from how they imagine it or view it?
You almost have to kind of just let go of your control with everything. I think a lot of people are like, I have to have it this
That's
way. I have to
tough.
see it things a certain way. A plus B equals C. And most of the time, it's not that way. A lot of other people have their own agency or decisions. They can surprise you. They can do certain things. And so you just have to be open taking it like a step at a time, especially in Fiona's case, where at first they really didn't like each other. It was not what she had hoped for. And then as they were walking along and getting back to Lord Farquaad's castle, they started to find commonalities and interests that they appreciated about each other that they didn't find in other people, and that she probably wouldn't have found in her expectation or her Prince Charming that she wanted if she hadn't had gotten to know him. And then they became friends, and then eventually they got to the point where they were fighting for each other's happiness. They really chose each other. So,
And we'll definitely get to the end because that's a great moment
mhm.
in the movie. Yeah, letting go of control, though, that's a great way to phrase that.
Yeah.
And challenging, very challenging too, which I think makes
Mhm.
it hard. Is it's tough to give up. Um, yeah, the control. We need to be open to love in ways that we least expect it to.
Yes.
Well, Maddie, I have an intermission here for us today. This one I am calling speed dating. Have you ever been to a speed dating event? Like an actual
I
event
have,
where
yes. A
you've
couple.
got different people and you
Mhm.
talk to them for like a you have? Oh, no kidding.
Yes, I
I have
have,
not.
yeah.
So tell me about that. What was your experience like?
It was pretty good, actually. I've been to a couple of events like that. I think both people know it's just kind of like crazy and you're just trying to get to know someone really quickly. And so I was laughing through most of it and just trying to keep it lighthearted because it's quite impossible to get to know someone so quickly and then you move on.
Hmm.
But it was fun asking questions and seeing different personalities and yeah, I thought it was a good time. I've also been to ones where it's super awkward and you're trying to it takes two to tango. So you're trying your best to start a conversation. They're like, no. And you're like, all right, we're gonna move on now. So
Yeah, yeah, that's where you need like a donkey. You know, like a donkey in Shrek who just keeps
yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever
Mhm.
had a date with someone you met there like later on? Like, did you ever have something that came from one of those events?
Oh, um, I don't think so. I think I definitely saw them like in
Okay.
passing and we were able to joke and laugh and talk, but I didn't necessarily go on a date from it. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very curious because I had
Yeah.
never been to an event.
Mhm.
They just seem interesting to me, I guess. Very interesting.
Yeah.
The whole concept
They are
of
pretty that's a good word for
meeting a
it.
lot
They
of
are
people in a short
interesting.
amount of time. Yep,
Yeah. Mhm.
exactly. I might rather watch one to actually be a participant. Maybe I could just watch it from afar. Yeah.
There yeah, I've
Oh,
I've seen some videos where they do that, and some of them are really funny, and some are really dramatic. You're like, "Oh my gosh." But yeah.
just give me some homework assignment. Look up speed dating videos. So I
I'll
can
give
take
you
a
a
look at what this
recommendation.
is
There's
all
like
about.
one yeah, like one video I'm thinking of in mind, but I'll have to tell you later.
All right, so that was a
Mhm.
whole segue conversation. Back to the intermission, which I'm calling speed dating. Uh, and for our listeners today, I have not shared this with Maddie in advance because I want her genuine, like in the moment answers to these 9 questions that I have for you, Maddie, about relationships, but framed up relate to the movie Shrek in some way. So still Shrek focused,
Oh,
but
okay.
relationship questions. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Here's the first one, because Lord Farquaad has a height challenge. Shrek even jokes that he's compensating because he sees the height of his tower, and it's a
Mhm.
huge, and then Lord Farquaad is this small
Yeah.
person.
He's an itty
Um,
bitty guy.
and so my question on this, yes, my question for you, Maddie, is: do
Mhm.
you have any height requirements for a significant other?
Oh, I know my perfect hugging height is in between 5'10" to 6 foot, but that doesn't matter.
Oh, I like that.
I yeah, like, I had a friend who one time hugged me, and she was 5'10". She's like, "You need to find someone this height." And so, I know that, like, range, but usually the guys I date are a good couple inches taller than me. Yeah.
I like the way you said that. 5'10" to 6 feet, the perfect hugging height. All right, very nice. Question number 2. What's a positive attribute of Donkey that you would like in someone that you were dating?
Um, he's very loyal. Even when Shrek is treating him terribly, and Shrek's still like getting used to having a new friend and things like that. He is just wants to help out. He's just always there, like wanting to be next to him, and he even calls him out on his crap, and he's like, "Hey, like none of that. Like you know how you feel." And so he's not just this passive friend who's like, "Yeah, I'll just go along with everything that you say." He's very much himself still, even though it bugs Shrek sometimes. But Shrek finds it very endearing towards the end because he really does care. And so a couple of those qualities all matched up. But
Yeah, extremely loyal. Yeah, that was a great one. Next question, as you continue on with speed dating. Lord Farquaad has a magic mirror in this movie.
Mhm.
If you had a magic mirror, what would you ask it?
Oh, that's a really good question. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I can't even think right now. Yeah, that's a good
We'll come back to it.
question.
If you think of something,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll definitely
if
let
you
you
think
know.
of
Yeah,
something,
that's a good one.
yeah, we can come back to it. This one kind of relates to the magic mirror, this next question, um,
Okay.
because if you remember that scene where he picks Princess Fiona, there's like 3
Mhm.
princesses up there, and it's like, do you want Princess 1? Do you want Princess 2? Do you want Princess 3? And he ends up
Yeah,
picking
bachelorette number 1,
Princess
bachelorette number
Fiona as the
2.
one that he wants.
Mhm.
So exactly. So
Yeah.
that my question for you then is, would you ever go on a show like The Bachelorette? Why or why not?
Ugh. No. I watch it for fun, with
No?
my
Okay.
roommates to make fun of
Uh-huh.
it, but it's just so much drama and people all fighting for one guy, and they're pitted against each other even though they're trying to be friends, but it's not really realistic when they're all have the same goal and focus. So, um, no, I wanna go on one, but it is interesting to watch.
It's like what I said about speed dating. Can I just watch it from afar, right, and not participate? I
Yeah,
think is
yes, you're like,
is
"You
the
guys do
ideal thing with
you."
those shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned reality. That is I look at reality television as the opposite of reality. So I always thought
Yeah.
it was an interesting phrase to call those shows reality
Really
television. I'm
not
like,
the
there's
real
nothing
deal.
real about this, you know.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
no. 25 guys, 25 men in the house going for one woman and they all know it. Yeah, like this is not nothing about this is
Too
real.
much work. No.
Next question I have in speed dating is this is Donkey, and he mentions this to the dragon because the dragon
Okay.
like instantly starts having romantic feelings for Donkey. They're trying to rescue Fiona
Right.
from this dragon, and the dragon starts falling in love with Donkey. of all
Yeah.
of all crazy things.
Yeah.
And then the donkey mentions to Dragon that they should just try and be friends first. So the question on this one, Maddie, is how do you feel about that? The idea that your spouse should be your best friend.
I think
Agree or
that's how
disagree?
it should be. I agree. Yeah. You want someone that you can confide in, someone that you can
Yeah.
talk to. Um, but yeah, they definitely should be someone that you wanna spend time with and you treat as a friend, before,
Yeah.
anything, like, further develops or things. If it goes the opposite way, then it's more of a gamble, I guess. Yeah, it also just fosters better trust, you can understand them better, you have more time with them or getting to know them. So, yeah, it's good for a lot of things.
Because you just think about what a best friend is, um, and what you would want in a best
Mhm,
friend, someone that you can talk to about anything, somebody who is fun to spend time with, somebody who
mhm.
again is loyal to you, even when times are bad, someone that you can have difficult conversations with, like all those things you would want in a best friend. Your spouse is, the really the top should be the top person that you would, do
Should
those
be,
things
yeah,
with. So yeah, I'm with you completely on that. Yeah, should be exactly in the ideal scenario. Yes.
mhm. This is true.
Next question: have you ever been on a date with someone like Donkey who just talked and talked, like just talked nonstop, or is that more likely to be you? in terms of the talking?
Um, probably me. I'll talk a lot if the conversation's like going in a way that it is, and just like it helps me also to not facilitate the conversation, but open up different avenues of um, talking about things and getting to know them. And so I can carry a conversation very well if I need to, or I can just sit back and listen as well. But I have been both, where I've been on a date with someone like that, and I have been that person.
If you had to pick one, do you have a preference of being the main one talking or being the main one listening? Tough question.
I like to I like to listen, honestly. I like to hear about the other person and how they're doing. And I like it when they ask questions about me and they're showing that they want to hear about my day and things. But um, I don't know. I like a conversation. I like a bit of both, where both is happening. One person's not feeling like they're
Yeah.
doing all the listening or all the talking. It's just a very comfortable conversation between two people.
Awesome. Shrek is also very full of memorable characters. So let's shift that idea of something being memorable to dating or dates that you've been on. Um, do you have a date that was memorable for good reasons and maybe one that was memorable for the wrong reasons?
Okay, I'll start off with the worst one I went on, because I do remember that one very vividly. Um, I
Very easy to remember those
it
bad
was the
ones
double.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, it's true. They do leave an impression of what you don't want. But um, yeah, just briefly, I was going. Um, my friend really liked this boy, and she wanted to go on a date with him. But her parents had a rule that she couldn't go on the same date with a guy a ton. She needed to keep going on lots of dates with other people unless she was going on a group date. And so she asked if I could go with her so she could go on a date with this guy and I could go with his friend. And I said, okay, yeah, sure. I can help a girl out. I'll be there. And his friend was just not it. It wasn't looks, it was just very much how he treated the date. And so they picked me up. He also didn't come to the door, which I like it when people come to the door. I think that's bare minimum. But
Effort. Yeah.
he, yeah. And so we went bowling, and he maybe said two words to me and talked to his guy friend the whole time. And uh, my my friend, she was just all over this guy, so it was just she was super happy. So I was very much just supporting her. This is when I was younger as well, so we did weird things. But after that, we went to Kohl's, and they wanted to play hide and seek or do some weird like random game, and they forgot that I was there, and so they left, and I was just like, okay. So
What?
I just started reading a book because I was like, I'm gonna just enjoy myself where I'm at. So, and then I eventually called them and said, hey, and they're like, oh my gosh, came and picked me up. Then we went to go get frozen yogurt. Um, and the guys were talking about all the girls coming in to the frozen yogurt place about their looks and appearances while we were on the date. And yeah, and then they dropped me off and I said adios. And yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I'm guessing there was no second date on that
Yeah,
one.
no. Yeah, I was glad I was able to help a friend out.
Wow,
But
that's
yeah,
wild.
as far as her guy friend trying to make an impression, or yeah, it was horrible.
You have a memorable good one that you can think
A
of?
good I've been on a lot of, good dates where guys were just very sweet. They came and picked me
Yeah.
up. Some even brought me flowers, which was very cute. I like active dates, so I've been on, painting dates where we were
Mm.
given, like, 5 minutes, to start painting something, and then you'd switch, and then you'd paint on the other person's painting, and then you'd switch back, and you did that about 5 or 6 times, and you'd have, like, these just fun artsy paintings. That was a good one. I've been to dates where we just walked around downtown. It was just kind of spontaneous where we ended up, where we were going and stuff. We actually there was this old church building. We were walking around a park and we heard singing, and it turned out there was a free concert going on inside. And so we just walked in there and were able to listen to music. And so it felt very movie-esque type, but that was fun. But yeah, just active dates that I've been on with guys where they put forth effort, they were a gentleman, they paid for the dates, which is always nice. But yeah, just showing forth like effort, just being a man, I guess.
And lots of good examples there. Spontaneous, I think, is sometimes the times when it is most fun, when it's just everyone's having it's
Mhm.
fun, it's laid back, it's not knowing what's
Mhm.
going to happen, but as long as you're with a person who's willing to just have fun with you, regardless of what the activity is, sometimes it's just a lot of fun. I have one last question on speed dating
Okay,
before we move on.
perfect.
And this question, yes, you almost made it. You've almost passed the test of speed dating.
So close.
Um, I know. The final question is about Fiona because Fiona
Okay.
has to get the spell broken because she is also an ogre at nighttime. Spoiler, if you haven't seen Shrek, Fiona also an ogre uh,
Oh, no.
at nighttime. But she has to, yes, she has to have the spell broken by true love's kiss. And so my question for you, Maddie, is what can you tell about a guy, if anything, from a first kiss?
Ooh, wow. Ooh, spicy question. I don't know. Their heart, like their intent, especially if it's like a first kiss, like you don't want it to be this like
Hmm.
crazy makeout session or weird thing. It's just, yeah, them just trying to show that they care and that they like you, just being sweet and
Yeah.
sincere. And yeah.
You have passed the speed dating test. Yeah. Awesome job. Well, if you think of the magic mirror question, let me know because that's the one that I'm still
Okay,
curious about. So,
I will be thinking
yeah.
about it.
Awesome. Another quote that I wanted to talk about is this quote is actually from Donkey talking to Dragon, where Donkey says, I believe it's healthy to get to know someone over a long period of time. Just call me old fashioned. I don't want to rush into a physical relationship. I'm not emotionally ready for a commitment of this magnitude. So again, the dragon is developing these romantic feelings for Donkey and is not shy at all
Mhm,
about sharing those
mhm.
feelings. Have you ever been though in the have you ever been in Donkey's shoes where somebody wanted to move faster with you than you were ready for or that you wanted?
Um, yes. I mean, at first it was we just like the heat of the moment, you're both like really excited and stuff, and then it was like, whoa, like pump the brakes. Like we've only known each other for so long. I have been, but then again, we both just talked and had conversations about it, and eventually it just like kind of we parted ways and things.
It's actually a great segue into the next quote. What I want to talk with you about
Okay.
communication. This quote
Mm-hmm.
is so who could ever love a beast so hideous and ugly? And later on, well, you at least got to tell Shrek the truth. So these quotes are between a conversation that Donkey has with Fiona, where one night Donkey
Right.
discovers Fiona's secret. She has transformed into an ogre, and then she shares the story about how she's been cursed and that only true love's kiss will break the spell. And she's sharing all of this with Donkey. Meanwhile, Shrek was approaching where they were having this conversation, uh, and
Right.
he overhears them talking. He assumes that she is referring to
Yeah.
him as the hideous and ugly beast,
Mm-hmm.
when in fact she was talking about herself in that moment. And so then Donkey advises Fiona to tell Shrek the truth. Meanwhile, Shrek turns hostile, he turns angry, hurts Fiona, who ends up accepting Lord Farquaad's marriage proposal. So thinking about kind of that
Yeah.
scene, everything going on, uh, what should Shrek or Fiona have done differently when you think about communicating there, and how do you think couples should communicate during those tough times?
Not assume. Everything would have been cleared over if he would have just talked to her and said, "Hey, like, I couldn't help. but hear this, like, what did you mean by that? And there's a lot of books and movies where that happens, where it just causes a whole plethora of problems just because two people didn't decide to sit down and talk and to just be real with each other. Then they would have found out that that they cared, and maybe it would have just made that process a lot less painful for them, especially for Shrek and Fiona. I mean, Fiona almost married a crazy man, but um, yeah, it's it's definitely important to communicate even when it's hard, even when, like, what if she did mean that about him or she was talking about him? I think understanding where someone's coming from and talking with them is always a good idea because then you are on the same page and you can decide what to do from there instead of based on an assumption that someone else said, or
Yeah.
maybe you didn't see things through a certain angle because you weren't there in the moment. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think about on this topic is, words don't often show a person's intent. You need to have
Hmm.
that further conversation um, to really open up about maybe why something hurt you, if some words were said that were hurtful, or what made you feel the way you feel. I feel like that comes back to, again, we started this episode talking about being vulnerable, and
Yeah.
you have to be with somebody who you feel like you have a high degree of trust with, because if you don't have that trust, likely you're not going to open up, especially during those tough times.
Yeah. It's not going to go anywhere.
Do you see anything that we can learn from Shrek or Fiona about the power of being yourself?
The whole movie, man. I think that's what they all struggle with, except for really Donkey. Like, he's just constantly consistent with being himself, and everyone loves him just for that. Shrek and Fiona have a lot of past baggage of expectations, of different things from their life, and so they have to work through a lot more. And um, it's just always better to be yourself. You want someone that is going to make you feel like the best version of yourself, or who supports you or thinks that you're cool just for you. I mean, if you play this facade of trying to be someone else, it's gonna wear on you, and it's you just physically will will be hurting as well, like mentally and physically. Yeah, you want someone that likes you for you in a nutshell, because you're gonna be a lot happier in the end.
So true. It's exhausting too, just hearing you describe that. I'm trying to keep
Yeah,
up the facade and
yeah,
being somebody you're not. And then you're attracting
mhm,
someone too who isn't somebody that you'd want to be in a long-term relationship with anyway, because you want to be loved for who you are, not who you're trying
yeah.
to be. So
I think someone, um, told me this a long time ago, but don't date someone for their potential, date them for how they are. I think some people do that hoping that they can change someone, or that they can maybe figure out a way to just make it work. Like we said with Fiona, like the expectations of narrow mindedness, you just want it to be this way. You never want to force someone's love. Like, you don't want that. You want it to be freely given. And so you should give it the space that it needs to do that.
I feel like that does happen a lot, where
Yeah.
if they were more like this and this and this, it'll be great. And maybe one day
Hmm.
it will happen. Um,
One
Rather than
day.
focusing on
Yeah.
who they are and loving them for who they are, and then you grow together. Right? Ideally, in the ideal relationship,
Yes.
you're growing together. Um, and this is
Agree.
the last quote I have for us today. I do love this quote. It's short and sweet quote. It's from Donkey, because he's got the best ones.
Hmm.
He says, "The chicks love that romantic crap." I'll say it once more. "The chicks love that romantic crap." That's a direct quote that Donkey says to Shrek, timing wise, right before they break up the wedding. Moments before they break up this wedding between Fiona and
Hmm.
Farquaad. Anything else you'd like to add on how important romance is to you, or what that looks like from your perspective?
Regardless of where anyone is at in their relationship, where it's the beginning, the middle, or even you're married and it's been a really long time, I think, just like we talked about, effort it shows that that person is still wanting to prioritize their special someone, their partner, that regardless of what time or circumstances may do to their relationship, they are in it to win it. They're in it to keep fighting for it and to keep trying for it. And it helps foster a deeper relationship instead of it just being kind of stagnant for a long time. You learn more things about people as they change over time. Romance is beautiful. It should never die. Chivalry should never die. Romance should never die because it's good. It's good for the heart. It's good for people.
We've talked a lot today around first dates and new relationships, but I love how you focused on this is for everybody. Like every relationship needs the effort, needs the romance. Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like the challenge often is those relationships where couples have been together for a while. Because early
Mhm.
on, what I've seen is uh, the effort sometimes early on, it's easier. It's more natural, it's new, it's fresh, it's fun.
Mhm.
It's easier
Trying to
sometimes
impress,
to
trying
have
to
that
yeah.
in, and then
Mhm.
yes, yes, and then over time, complacency sets in, things get stale, um, things get stagnant, and so I think sometimes you just have to be more intentional. Where it's easier early
Yes.
on as
Mhm.
you progress in a relationship, we have to be more intentional about planning the dates, intentional about making that time,
Mhm.
intentional about keeping the romance alive because if not, I think more often than not, life's going to get in the way. It's going to become on the back burner, and before you know it,
Mhm.
that's how a lot of relationships I think end is honestly complacency and life getting in the way, uh, which leads you back to being intentional. My favorite word in the English language
Yep.
is to be intentional.
Mhm.
So
It's a
yeah,
good one.
so kind of our quotes for our Shrek based episode. But I do have a segment here, Maddie, called Date That Movie. We each will come up with a date idea that's inspired by the movie in some way. It can be anything that inspires you for a specific date idea from Shrek so that we can give our audience and our listeners fantastic date ideas.
I was just
Go
thinking
for it.
about this because I know that's the whole like theme to date like the movies. The whole
Yeah.
time
Mm-hmm.
that they are getting to Lord Farquaad's castle, they're going on a hike and they're talking and getting to know each other. I think hikes are a fun way to do that, depending on if you like those or not. I like going on hikes. Fiona also makes breakfast for Donkey and Shrek. I think making meals with someone is a really fun way to spend time together. There's a very interesting scene where Shrek and Fiona blow up a frog and like a snake and make balloons out of them, and
Oh,
they're running
yes.
around.
Yes.
Um, but I don't know, doing things that kind of just bring out um, your childlike side that makes you have fun, and that may look like for a different couple. For them, it was doing that, and they made cotton candy out of webs and spiders and things. But they just had fun with each other. Like they were able to laugh. I think laughing is a very important thing if you're dating someone. So
I love those scenes too. You talk about the balloon animals, spontaneous. You mentioned the importance of kind of being
yeah,
spontaneous.
spontaneous.
They didn't plan on finding this, this frog to turn into a balloon animal. It was just spontaneous and it was
Yeah.
fun and brought some laughter. Yeah, those are excellent ideas. We have a very similar theme here with the food and with getting outside, because my thoughts on a Shrek inspired date are you talked about making
Hmm.
breakfast. I'm talking about making waffles because there's that
Yeah,
quote in the
there you
movie
go.
where Donkey's like, "In the morning, I'm making waffles." So my idea is to make waffles together, and then you follow that up after you make the waffles. You make a gingerbread man together because we didn't even talk about the gingerbread man, but there is a gingerbread man in this
Yeah.
movie who I think is Lord Farquaad's prisoner. I think, if I'm remembering
Yeah.
this correctly, going with waffles, gingerbread man, and then ending with a walk together. So similar to your hike idea, I was thinking the whole movie is a journey. It's a
Mhm.
journey, walking together, being outside together. We were both thinking food and thinking
Yeah, food
walking,
and
hiking, being
outside.
outside together. Yeah. Unbeatable combination. You could
It's
even
true.
take the breakfast on
There's
the
nothing better
hike.
than that.
Make a breakfast, take it on the hike, and there you
Exactly.
go.
Get some Ziploc bags, put some syrup in it, and
Uh,
just eat it.
we could go all day with these Shrek Day ideas.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to do this balloon animals. I think that sounds like fun. Do some balloon animals on date. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be doing that one.
Balloon animals, that'd be fun. Learning how to do balloon animals with someone could also be fun, but
Oh yes, yes. Yeah,
yeah.
that would be fun. Before we wrap up, is a segment called
Okay.
Lights, Camera, Action. Because in the spirit of showbiz and Date Like the Movies, I like to ask you for your action, meaning what's one lesson or action that someone could take from the movie Shrek and apply to their relationship pursuits or to their relationship endeavors? Or what's something takeaway for you from the movie Shrek?
There's so many. I really do love this movie a whole lot. My family has it in VHS, so I've seen it all growing up. But,
I
um,
showed the DVD and you've
I
got VHS. You're going older school than
yeah,
me. So
yeah, showed my age, but yeah, I think a couple of things that we talked about, that I really like is being curious and then not being judgmental, like getting to know someone for them and that person being okay with just being themselves. Like be yourself and show effort when getting to know someone and continuous effort as you further a relationship with someone, I think is very important.
love that. Great action takeaway there. Mine, I was thinking along the lines of just being open to finding love outside of
Hmm.
what you'd expect. Kind of goes with that
Yes.
curious mindset that you've talked about a few times today. Is just having that
Hmm.
open idea of trying new things, meeting new people, it's outside the norm.
Hmm.
Because you know what, you might find a future relationship in a place that was totally unexpected, similar to Shrek and Fiona's situation.
Exactly.
Well, Maddie, thanks so much for joining me on this episode
Of
discussing
course.
fantastic movie, Shrek. Yeah, definitely loved having you here. Thanks to the listeners for tuning in. And remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Date Like the Movies. Thanks so much.